Yay!
I'll let it, like usual, I'll let it sit for a couple seconds and
Sure.
then we'll start. See if anybody shows up. Or if we'll be talking to ourselves, which is fine.
No, we never are. There's always people waiting.
There's usually some, yeah.
There's 5 currently. Hi, everybody. Why are you on twice, Tanya?
Huh?
Oh,
That is a good question.
I saw her up twice.
Les
Sorry.
caught
Hi, Les.
Steve and Picket Fences last night. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, I just saw that video. And everyone's
awesome.
like, oh my god, what is it? Is it Steve? Is it... Well, that was all the only suggestion I saw, but...
Yeah,
it was a pretty cool, 5 or 6 different picket fence strands, vertically aligned, and then they were just moving.
Neato.
They didn't form anywhere else, it was just those little bits, and then they moved and disappeared.
It's been a long time since I've seen a Steve, so that's pretty cool.
I still never have.
I think, it's one of those things, and we can... I mean, we might have some scientists in the chat. Because I'm still on this, kick that Steves tend to show up more when you get coronal hole activity.
That seems to be likely.
Versus CMEs and bigger storms.
Anecdotally, at least, I would agree completely.
So, we can let that stew with people listening. We need some research. Need to go back in the archives. Maybe I'll do that one day when I get time. Because it is curious.
That would be a tedious search.
Tedious search, but it's interesting to me because it does seem... It seems like they just kind of disappeared for a while. They were or not as common. So anyway. Hi everybody. Welcome in. I know we just did one of these not too many days ago, but we sort of wanted to get back on the typical Sundays that we like to do. So what are we covering today? We're doing the Spotless Sun, because that made its rounds on the internet. And current events, streamer blowout, some fun stuff like that. In fact, I titled this one Streamer Blowout in the Spotless Sun, which sounds like a band to me. Maybe that'd be our new band name.
It's like a Black Hole Sun ripoff.
Black Hole Sun. Anyway, so
especially with all the AI stuff from last time.
Right? Yeah, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's always fun. So anyway, if you want to share the slideshow...
Sure.
We can get the show started.
Okay.
Yeah, Spotless Sun.
Yep, it is. And
officially 0.
We're going to start with a quick reminder of solar cycle updates. So this is from Austrian Space Weather Office. They keep a couple of predictions there, including Scott McIntosh Group prediction from 2023. And so far, we're kind of tracking along with it, which is kind of nice. But we're seeing a crash of the sunspot number, and you probably wonder why it is, but this is fairly normal. We are coming out of a surge where we were probably December, January, and February, well, at least the beginning of February, and now we are seeing a decline in sunspot numbers. So sun is kind of doing what it's supposed to be doing. And we are not going to see 2 peaks, but we will probably see another spike in sunspot numbers, not as high as we were in 2024. Obviously, we're not going to reach that anymore. Those numbers. This is just a smooth, monthly smooth number. But this is normal. This is just sun doing sun things. And unfortunately disappointing people, because it seems like the take on it was sunspot numbers are down. There are no active regions. We're not going to have Aurora.
No joke. Just saw an ABN notification from somebody who's going to Alaska going, oh my god, are we going to get some sunspots before I get up there in late March? Because I want to see some Aurora. Like, what a coincidence that we're just seeing this, at the same time that we're going to talk about it. But Alaska, first off, it doesn't need CMEs or flares.
Oh.
Needs nothing.
No, exactly.
But
this is kind of the current events. We are seeing 2 coronal holes. There are still 2 of them. There's actually probably 3. So this is right there, lurking in the south, close to South Pole, is coronal hole 24. It's positive polarity, very high latitude. It's a tail end of it. Very long extension. So we're probably still under some influence of it, although it's kind of very, very, very far at this point. But remember, this is what gives us the influence. So it's still extending a little bit into somewhat meaningful latitudes. But this is Coronal Hole 26 with negative polarity. We are clearly in the fast solar wind at this point. Low latitude, the CIR, that compressed area of solar wind, came through last night for North America. So plenty of activity. And I think Tasmania and New Zealand actually got some overnight as well. So go Coronal Hole. Impact is ongoing. We're probably going to see fluctuating BZ still, and maybe not as high at this point because the total strength of magnetic field has dropped already, but still very much possible. And this is probably a signature of polar coronal hole. We're not seeing North Pole at this point very well because we're kind of looking mostly slightly south of the ecliptic, but it's there. We're not seeing much of a coronal loops in this area, so I think there is a polar coronal hole that's showing up. We do not have active regions, none, but we are far from just completely bare sun that's not having anything active. There are plenty of filaments. We actually had 2 interesting filament eruptions, not Earth-directed, full disclosure, but they're on the limbs, but still makes possible that one of those filaments will peel off and actually come our way. The magnetic field is still kind of twisted and not just flatlined across the ecliptic, so there's still plenty of opportunities for interesting stuff to come, and it's going to be important. This is what happened in the last couple of days. So this is the 21st, and this is close to now, but I did not include the complete run of February 22nd, but this is what we have seen. There is a CME that rolled through, which was a bit of surprise, I think, to some degree, because that was not really predicted or expected. Did it do anything for us? No. When you look at the red line, that's BZ. And you notice for the duration of that, for that CME, it was north. So geomagnetic activity, none. Wasn't much fun.
The maximum BT of 10 nanotesla, yeah, you're not going to get much effect even with that.
Well, you're going to get Aurora. Something. If it's negative, you're going to get something. But if it's positive, no. Maybe a little bit of activity because it dipped down a little bit in the beginning, and then it was trying to dip a little bit over here, but overall didn't do much. So looking at it, this is BY. It went from east to west, and it stayed north. So east, northwest flux rope, very unfavorable for us.
One of 2 worst configurations.
Yeah, anything that with north for the main field, and it just sucks. And then we saw the sort of seamless transition almost from CME and still influence of the coronal hole that's now kind of way south of us, way south of the sun, in the southern hemisphere. But there's probably some influence of it here with another coronal hole coming in, forming CIR and rapidly increasing speed. This is the CIR. There's probably embedded structure right here with a little bit of interesting magnetic field with a BZ, and then some favorable BZ over here. So Aurora definitely overnight for North America. It's kind of a little bit of a transient structure here because it's a little smoother compared to the rest of it, but can we tell for sure where it came from? Because it was very short, it probably was very close to the coronal hole itself. And it's not unusual for those very small structures to be embedded and sort of compressed and show up as favorable or sometimes maybe unfavorable. So again, overnight, possibly some aurora for high latitudes. They're going to be having a lot of fun as long as they don't have clouds. That includes Alaska. And spotless sun. Okay, so it is. All right, but again, where did this structure came from? Tracking back and looking at all the different sources, I think the general consensus at this point that it probably came from the streamer blowout on February 17th. It was a very long duration event. It took hours and hours and hours for that plasma to actually leave the sun. So it started fairly small, but it just kept flowing and flowing and flowing. And again, for those streamer blowout events, I think we covered it in one of the streams. We probably should cover it again
Yeah.
because chances are we're going to see more of those
Yeah.
events in the future. But it was actually modeled as a miss because it appears mostly going kind of southeast and was expected to miss Earth. SDA looked, Stereo A had a different look at it. So again, it's a slower event. So chances are it's going to expand more as it moves. And that's exactly what it did.
Yeah, I was gonna say
But
because that looks like it was pretty much south, but when you move slower, it has longer time to expand itself.
mhm.
And oh, did it?
and and it did arrive on February 21st. But we're going to look where it came from.
Yeah, so that's
I'm
now
going to
it's on
stop
to
sharing
you.
here.
So for now, I've got the 211. I think this is probably the best way to look at it. Just 211, and it has to be base differential imagery because of how long it was and how slow it was. There's really not a lot of signs. You can see some of it in the chromosphere and a little more in the corona, but this is the best that I was able to see. And surprisingly, it was all started mostly down here. Now, this is, to be fair, a, what did I do? 18 hours, so it's very, very detailed. It's got a lot of movement in it, but it's slowly then showing some of our wave that's coming across here as well as the emptying out of the corona here. There was some periods of SDO flickering, so if you see the flickering, that's all of the wavelengths. But really, it was just this whole period here. And it really looked like it wasn't going to even affect us because that's way far south. So even checking out Lasgo C2 and C3, I know we had an image up there of it.
It looks pretty in this
Boom.
though. Look how
Yeah, look how
bright it
bright
is.
that got. Like, I tried to edit that as many ways as possible to at least bring it down. It is blown. Those highlights are gone. But point is, it's not very wide either. You would think, based on just the Lasgo imagery, that we're not going to see very much. Now, I probably should have extended Lasgo a little bit further. That way we can get more. But really, it doesn't extend much beyond that. So if I had just seen Lasgo, I'd been like, okay, miss. Moving on.
So
Quite
yeah,
surprising.
it's easy to understand why they just modeled it as a miss.
Yeah.
And then, well, I guess depending on if we want to actually look. Oh, that's right. I messed up the whole video.
You and your
Okay,
layers.
never mind. I know. I like my layers. It's really fun to have just a couple layers of the corona and then the chromosphere all in one, and you can really see the depths of the coronal holes, and then you've got the filaments all laid out. But I screwed with things too much, so
And then
there's
your
no getting
computer
that back right now.
crashes, and then you whine about it, and it's funny.
Yeah, I gotta get a better laptop for this. It's not cutting it anymore.
But what that eruption, I'm having very difficult time calling it eruption. It's like very slow
Yeah, just a
evacuation.
release, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think release is a good term for it. But it managed to widen both coronal holes. So it took
Oh
part of
yeah.
the wall of
Mhm.
that coronal hole. So you could see it in 211 very well.
Sorry,
Well,
didn't
to
actually
some
pull that
degree,
part.
but you have to kind of keep in mind what you're looking at. But 211 is pretty good at it.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
you
kind
There
of
we
just
go.
go a little faster to see it expand. So I can keep, actually, can I keep a marker? Because notice that the outer boundary here does not actually move even as the sun is rotating. So that's having it expanded over that little 8-hour period. We also have some of the northern one up here get a little higher as well.
Yeah, a little bigger.
So it's like it just pushes the outer boundaries further in so that the actual out. Oh, here, actually, another idea. What kind of PFS we got? These aren't updated as often as the frames are, so it wouldn't really help too much. No, it looks for the most part. It did have the negative extension come down here this way. I mean, again, I know these are just models, but I like sometimes seeing what. Yeah, not too much. And it's fun
Yeah.
that we have the connections between the two areas. I'm good,
Yep.
though. That's everything I got.
But given that it is affecting both coronal holes and they're quite a distance away from each other, that was a big restructuring event. So it appeared going really just in one direction. But remember, CMEs do not like to cross kernel holes, and they don't travel very well across open field lines. So that
We've
sandwich
seen that a
between
few
two
times
kernel
now.
holes kind of
Yeah, just kind
going straight at us. So,
So there you go.
all right. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
back to our back to the scheduled program here.
yeah, but it does get important for the later discussion a little bit because
Yes.
again, this is what we have going on. So flares are now sitting at a very low level, and those two flares, they're sort of side effect of two filament eruptions. Because once filaments are gone, what's remaining is the hydroflare or the flare ribbons, and they glow in X-ray. So that long duration event, that part of it is just basically left over kind of the glowing scar on the surface of the sun.
Ooh,
So
glowing scar. I kind of like that analogy.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
one.
really what it is.
it is. So if you, Christian, if you have the 305 up, I'm going to stop sharing, but if you can, because at least the southeast filament had a pretty clear flare ribbons. Not
Same
very
time period, right?
spectacular. No, that's today.
Oh, well, then it's going to be a second.
Aw.
Oh,
Aw.
I can probably pull up SDO.
Yeah, if yours
Ah,
works first. Ooh, there's not enough
it's
time.
just general SDO.
It's a race.
What's
No,
today?
Uh, today's the 22nd.
So
22nd.
23rd. No, not 32. 23. And we'll say midnight, so that should be. Let me know if you got it first, Tanya.
I need to pull a different
I'll just
frame.
give you
Hold
the
on.
reins, but
It's a race. It's a race. Who gets it first?
It's a race. Well,
oh, it's
I'm just,
probably not going to be me. But I'm also lowering the cadence a little bit, so
So
maybe it'll load
maybe.
faster.
I am just pulling the SDO itself. Hold on. I may have it here.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, apparently you can. You said Marco.
I did not know it did not have to be in specifically the time format. I will be using that trick from now on.
Yeah, that's way
Like,
easier.
and I assume that works for any time frame now to -12. Like, if I need to add in, let's say, 24 hours or something.
All right, hold on. I think I
Love
have it.
learning from this.
Yes, I agree.
Here, let's.
We're a community of learning. So team learning is the
There we
name
go.
of the game here.
I got it,
But
Tanya.
oh, you got it? I'm gonna stop sharing
Oh,
then.
the prominence filament?
That's pretty cool looking.
Yes.
Dang, okay. So
So if you look at this
got the
area over
eruption,
here,
and there's the PILs.
not quite yet. It's going.
Oh, there
No,
it
it's
goes.
going.
Yep.
So that's the glowing scar right there.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's see. Let's look at that. No, do running on that.
There we go. It's showing up.
It's pretty.
Yeah, it's running on doesn't always quite get the full one,
Oh,
but as
I'm
long
gonna
as
stop.
base is doing correctly, there we go. Yeah, check out the P's. We got some of the increasing scar here. Oops.
Oh yeah,
That was
look
a
at it
cool
go.
one.
Oh,
Wow, look
actually,
at that.
this one has a very nice coronal wave too.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, right.
yep, there we
Right
go.
through here.
Yep. It actually spreads further north. If you
Ooh.
if you move away, if you move out just a little bit, you're gonna
Oh
see.
yeah,
There we go.
that whole region there.
Yep.
All right, let's just zoom out and check real quick.
Zoom out.
Oh, that looks like 2 releases.
Mhm.
1 and then 2. Dang, that's cool.
It is, but
This is a much better way than just complaining about spotless suns.
definitely.
We get at least the interesting little
We're
things going
back
on
to
here.
the theme of the day. It's a spotless
Yeah,
sun.
Yeah.
right.
It's still
Let's go
doing
back to
things.
Spotless Sun. So I'm gonna share.
Sun. There we go.
Who needs spots anyway? All right. So, official number of sunspots today is 0. Flare activity low, expected to be very low because there is really nothing to flare. except for filaments, but they don't typically produce that process of eruption and a sort of the afterglow, the glowing scar. It doesn't produce very high level in X-ray flux, so it's going to be probably C class or lower. And yeah, we're not going to have a whole lot of active regions on visible disk, obviously, because again, coronal holes are running the show right now. Hopefully something will emerge, but again, we are coming out of the surge, so sun was just fairly active. Give it a break.
Yeah.
But we do have other sources of geomagnetic activity, meaning Aurora. CMEs, only one option is really producing very high level of activity. It's obviously eruptive flares from active regions that launch very high speed CMEs, but filaments can be just as effective.
They
You
can.
don't really need a flare. You probably need some sort of event to destabilize the filament. But once it's going, and it can produce fairly decent activity. Streamer blowouts, we just saw one, so that's a nice one. It's essentially filament that's kind of forms higher in the corona, so they don't show up. They're not necessarily pre-made. You don't need a filament to launch a streamer blowout, but nice level of activity. That BT being about, I think, 12 or so, under 12. That's enough to drive decent aurora. If it's all going into BZ, you're going to see something. This one was not favorably oriented, but they come in other varieties. Coronal holes, we're finally having them back. So they're going to be, again, rotating again and coming with geomagnetic activity every couple of weeks or so. So that's not bad either. There are solar sector boundary crossings. We kind of talked about it, but maybe we should cover it in addition to streamer blowouts because they do come ahead of coronal holes and they have more or less consistent magnetic field with it that gets compressed by the coronal hole. And yeah, we should see something from that too. Also, solar sector boundary crossings do come with sort of small transient flux ropes, think baby CME, that might be enough to generate some decent activity. And of course, small transient because sun sheds helicity and sun kind of sheds those flux ropes in all shapes, and not shapes, but in all sizes. Could be anything from a couple of hours to up to 12 hours. After 12 hours, you pretty much have to call it TME. But they do appear every now and then in solar wind, fast solar wind and slow solar wind. So we're not done with geomagnetic activity just because sun is spotless. We're not done with aurora just because there are no sunspots. There's still plenty of sources and there's still plenty of aurora to look forward to. And that takes us to the next step. Mary Beth, take it off.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is kind of what we were talking about, like, well, sort of. You know, we got the spotless sun thing, and then we have the forecasting. I started calling it sort of a forecasting trap because we see it all the time in a lot of the groups. Is like the forecast gets put out and it stays, and people stick with it even if the data changes. And then it's like, then you get these things that happen where it's like, well, why didn't this show up, or what happened here, or what is this? You know, like this streamer blowout thing is a great example of, you know, what just happened here. It was kind of a surprise because it was modeled as a miss, but it showed up. And then the geomagnetic forecasts, like they start to, we see it a lot too. These will start to circulate before even the official forecasts get put out, and these are kind of dangerous to follow. Like it just, you know, like I sometimes I have a hard time like describing what I'm trying to say. It's like, especially when you have access, the blessing and a curse of having access to all of this stuff is A, you have access to it, but B, now you have people taking it and not really totally understanding what they're looking at. Like for example, the CME scoreboard. Like, it's gonna have all sorts of things on there. It's gonna have models for shocks. It's gonna have models for all this other stuff that really, like, people will take that and say that this is what's gonna happen, and that's You got to be very careful doing that kind of stuff. You just do. But as Aurora chasers, and even I've started to kind of take a step back from obsessing so much about forecasting because it doesn't really help you that much. Like, it
Nope.
gives you an idea that something will happen in the future. You know, like, coronal holes are great because they're actually kind of, out of anything, they're the most certain. But it's like, just take it with a grain of salt. Don't take it word for word. Don't take it as like Bible or any of this kind of stuff. It's like it changes as we get more information, and and we just aren't in a position where we can really, say that it's a lot of uncertainty. We just don't have the data, is what I'm trying to say. We just don't. I mean, we have what, couple satellites, and
Mm-hmm.
At one particular
yeah, at one
location in
location, and it's a big place out in space. So, you just gotta, like, let me put on the last part here, just gotta embrace the uncertainty and not get hung up on it.
Yeah.
Um, Make your own kind of informed decisions on if you want to go out or not. Um, like, it's just, when you're dealing with things like 8-hour drives and stuff like that, it's like, you know, you set yourself up for a lot of disappointment, I think is what I really want to say. So,
Yeah,
you have to
I would
embrace it.
agree. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I would have to say that some of the strongest storms we have seen produce the most disappointed photographers
Yes.
because things change over the course of the storm, and same goes for coronal holes when they do impact. It could be somewhat unpredictable. So, um, look at it as a possibility, an opportunity to catch something, not a guarantee. And trying to figure out which forecast is really performing best. Just because one forecast did fairly well with one CME or a few CMEs, it doesn't mean it's going to perform that well over next few CMEs
Mm-hmm.
or even coronal holes to some degree. Like this one was a little bit earlier than predicted, but then again, are you going to trust the forecast or are you going to trust the
the
data
data
and
in front of
actually?
you. Amen.
Exactly. Exactly. So do not attach do not get attached to the forecast. It gives us that warm feeling of predictability, but what we really should be preparing for is multiple scenarios where it could be daytime arrival, it could be unfavorable, it could be you need to plan and really kind of stake Aurora out for a few nights
Mm-hmm.
when it's a coronal hole. Um, you have to decide how it's going to go for you. And no forecast will reduce the uncertainty, unfortunately, at this point. No forecast will ever be accurate. We're just not there. And I don't know if we're ever going to be there. So preparing for multiple opportunities, so one opportunity, but multiple possibilities of how it will unroll can definitely be more helpful. And get your gear ready if you see something. You might have to grab it on a very short notice because something may arrive early, or you may be sitting and just watching the data, in which case it's going to arrive well. And, well, be prepared with the right app. We keep
Yes.
talking about Glendale for quite some time, but again, do not go with apps that try to alert you when KP is becoming elevated. You're not chasing
Hmm.
KP, you're chasing Aurora. And Aurora moves fairly rapidly, and it can move way before, and often does move way before KP changes.
Yes. Well
I,
said.
well, 'cause in especially the storms. So like you see them, they evolve, they get stronger, and then as you're seeing the strongest, almost always the actual notifications for strong KPs come out 5 to 10 minutes after peak of the beginning peak of the substorm, which by then you're starting to see then it degrade and go back down. You're always going to miss the peak if you're running outside seeing the KP has hit X value. And not to mention, I can say from experience, I've seen CMEs that were supposed to be strong and were super weak or pitiful, and I've seen no CMEs forecasted that come in and just blow us all away.
Yep.
There's no expectations anymore. You just look at the data. What do we have now? I don't care what people are saying. I don't care what people think and how they're interpreting about it. What is the data saying now?
I know that's never what anybody wants to hear, but
No, I mean, we always say the things that people don't want to hear, though. That's kind of my favorite
that's
position
our
to take.
thing. We
It's a coincidence,
we're
though.
the bad news people.
Yeah.
It's just
We're for
realism.
yeah, we're forensics. We're kind of seeing how things unrolled, and that also gives us an opportunity to look at how community was reacting. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, we are seeing plenty of people who are disappointed because the forecast didn't go as expected.
It was
So,
supposed to be a KP5 from 3 to 6 a.m.
I know that's the worst
yeah.
Get a
too at the
lot of that.
time.
Real quick, I do want to make a
Hmm.
share from Les giving me the photos of the
Oh
Steve
yeah,
that he caught, and
Oh, yeah.
including
yeah,
the
that's
picket
pretty.
Let
fence.
me stop sharing.
Let's see. Oh, why is it not going that? Fine, there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll leave it
so
that.
it was literally just like these five little posts, and then I don't know whose time lapse that was, Les. I remember seeing it on the group, but and it literally they just kind of stayed there and moved across the sky,
That's cool.
and then there's the other third one.
Our friend
Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing
Steve.
those, Les. And look at all these satellites.
Yeah.
Look at them all.
Oh,
Speaking of, oh god, do I even want to say it? I heard that Starlink or something put in a thing to put like 1 million more satellites up because that's where they want to run the AI data centers.
hmm.
Welcome to this age of humanity. Plaguing the skies is the next one.
Yeah.
Janelle's asking when was this? I think it was overnight.
Last night, right? Last
Yeah.
night for New Zealand and Australia
Or,
specifically.
you know, it was cloudy here. So that's why none of us saw any of it. You know, the usual
The
clouds.
usual February cloud
The
over.
usual winter North America weather.
Yeah, it was nice the weekend I was at work, which was like Valentine's Day weekend, I think. It was actually clear and calm up there, and you know, it is what it is. So
Yep.
anyway, I think
Oh, that's good to know.
we covered all because you answered the other question about the CIR, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we got
Just
that.
going, I guess, for the public. CIRs are
Yeah,
good for density and BT increases. If you got a positive polarity hole coming in, you're going to see BX oscillating quite a bit, then eventually get to the negatives and just stay that way. A lot of that now, I've learned the sign is best to determine BX. If you're looking at what that's doing and you know the polarity of the coronal hole, it's a little easier to determine if it's from that or like a slow transient or like a weak CME. It's usually easier to tell the difference, and it does not last very long either. Usually not a full day, hours at best.
there. Thank you. Anyway, I think that's all we got for the day, unless we have any more questions. But hopefully, it was another interesting little discussion. If anything, a reminder of things. But yeah, I guess we can look at covering streamer blowouts again and some of these
Yep.
other smaller scale
Maybe some like
structures.
a basic review, do like a sector boundary crossing one,
Yeah,
two, and
since this is what we're going to be seeing, you know, in the upcoming for whatever foreseeable future, I guess. Um,
sure.
as we slide into the decline.
I'm ready for minimum.
So yeah, so it's probably behoove us to cover it again.
Yep.
So
I agree.
yay! So we'll let you guys have your evening and day back. But as usual, thanks for stopping in, joining in, watching, and hopefully you got something out of it. And then we'll figure out something for next week. So, and if you have, like I said, if you have any ideas, just message us. Like if you really want to hear something, let us know because we can put it together. So, yay! All right.
Yep.
Well, I will let you guys go.